but she has a student coming to her room for like a makeup test or something, and so she said she'd be here as soon as she could, unless somebody shows up first.
And I have tested today too, so my kids may or may not show up.
So what we're doing right now is creating the learning objectives for chapter 6, which I do not have. So in your book, that would be on page 154.
Awesome.
I'm going to call the first category changing landscape.
Okay.
The second
I'll
category.
just type.
Okay. First category I'd call changing landscape. Second category, use of resources. Third category, biodiversity. And the fourth one's titled Meeting Ecological Challenges.
Okay.
So I started looking over these this morning, and some of them we could probably combine into just one, or two, because they basically list like 4 things, but you just collectively make it one objective.
Okay. But if we're doing like true learning targets, do you feel like it's all covered if you do one thing?
In the first one, I think we need 2, but you'll notice in section 2, I think it could be incorporated into fewer learning targets.
Okay.
They got too wordy.
All right. Sounds good. So what do you want me to write here?
I'll just say what the objective is. Describe human activities that affect the biosphere. Can we do something that says better than that, or is that a good choice?
What page are you looking at?
154. Well, you don't have them in the top corner.
Oh, I was reading the key
I
points.
was reading key
I thought
questions
you
So
were-
I'm looking at the
You're
actual.
looking at the teacher one.
Yeah, the
Okay.
actual objectives.
All right. Say that again.
Read it again.
So the objective for 6.1 says, there's 2 of them. The first one says, describe human activities that can affect the biosphere.
Okay.
Okay, I don't,
Disrupt the biosphere?
effect.
Affect with an A.
I don't like it because when I say that statement, I'm not gonna ask my kids to just name things like pollution.
Right.
I'm gonna have them tell me how.
Yeah.
I want them to understand the cycle. So,
Well, cycles come up later.
This is like agriculture, development, industrial growth, sustainable development. That's
Okay.
section 1. So it's basically how we're changing the landscape.
yes.
Yes, not good or bad.
Right.
Because obviously we need agriculture, or there wouldn't be all these people here.
I still don't like the word biosphere.
I don't either.
That's not gonna help
I got
that.
it. I got it. I think that it would be better to have even just landscape, I think might be better.
Okay.
For kids. to
That's
understand.
definitely more student friendly.
Yes. Okay.
And the next one says, describe the relationship between resource use and sustainable development.
We're phrasing objectives in more student-friendly language.
Between,
Resource use and sustainable development. How about I type, because I have the book with the
that's
objectives.
fine, or we can trade books.
Oh, I see that you're the one.
Trade.
It could look like you're leading this process.
Okay, so. Could we add to that and put like an example of a positive and a negative use of resources? Like,
Make them 2 different ones.
I don't know, that second one was.
Sustainable development though is,
Wow, yeah, that's gonna be so for good.
is all good.
Right. That's true.
I think that's a weirded worded thing.
Yeah, I don't like,
Describe the relationship between resource use. What relationship? Between like, yes, we're gonna use them sustainably, is that what we're looking for?
Well, the kids are obviously going to need to know what sustainable development means.
so why doesn't it say something like describe
Sustainable
sustainable development and,
Let's simplify that first.
yeah,
Let's do that first. methods of sustainable development.
I like,
I
because
like
to me,
that.
that's just a definition. I think
That's
we need to describe methods of, and I don't think you should have.
And then I think that actually ties into the whole resource thing without having to mud it up with all those words.
Yeah, I think that covers your basis.
Well, and that's really what we wanted to do, is to be go green, sustainable development. Add a note, Jeff.
Describe methods of-
Methods of sustainable.
Okay.
I like that better.
Me too. Okay, next one, describe.
Now, in section 2, they have it listed as describe how human activities affect soil, describe how human activities affect water, describe how human activities affect air resources. So I simplified it into one statement, describe how human activities affect land, water, and air resources. Do we need to make it 3 separate ones, or?
No, because honestly, I think it should be just resources and not land, water, and air. I think they need to just see how what we do impacts natural resources.
I mean, that's a long section for one learning time.
Well, and I actually disagree. I think that we should go through because it's so long.
I
Because
do
they're
too.
specifically talking about soil resources, erosion, and deforestation, and then they're gonna go to freshwater, do biological vegetation, and, you know, I mean, I get this, but I feel like
Mitigating the smog and acid rain.
if we're gonna do like, I don't know, I feel like if we're gonna do this, this is probably a good 2 days at least.
Especially if you tie in an article and stuff, which would be super easy to do, because I have a whole bunch that I use for mankind, all on, I mean, this section is my whole semester of mankind.
Even if we just write it out as, on the board as human activities affecting the like A, B, C, and just talk about one and check it, then talk about one and check it.
'Cause I don't think this is hard.
No, it's
No,
not.
it definitely
It's
not
not.
hard.
But I
That's
think it
why-
justifies more than one learning target.
I just feel like when the kids see it as one thing, the answer is pollution. How do things affect pollution? And then,
Instead of
instead of
types of
deforestation and, you know, erosion and,
Acid rain, and, yeah. I like three as well. Make sure everything is working.
And I guess I would say, Jane, the reason why I would want them to be 3 is so they realize it's not just what, that they can name the 3 separate areas, not just water pollution.
Yeah, you're not-
But
You're
are
not
these,
telling-
are we calling these are our I can statements, right?
Well, you're turning them into your I can statements.
these are the objectives.
What we,
So if you want to tweak it a little bit to make it more user-friendly or whatever, you can.
if that's what, Leah asked about these, this is literally what I write on the board for my,
Absolutely,
I
that's what I
write,
use too.
describe the study of ecology as my learning
Yeah,
target for
I
the
can
day. They change it to
describe.
I
the
rephrase
I
it.
can statement.
I rephrase mine.
Mine look like this. I can list, I can do whatever. They're all action words.
A lot of times I don't just say describe, like mine sometimes have different things.
Yeah, I tweak it a little bit depending on,
Right.
but, and she asked, is that okay? Yeah, that's fine, as long as we're just covering the same
Right,
ideas.
that's the big
Then I use
So-
this to make my list, so.
Yeah, we do.
Good with 2, moving over to 3. You want me to type them all up here and you can talk about them as I type? And then we can decide.
One. Biodiversity stuff we should already know.
Although invasive species is a one. That I may not know.
That's what identify current threats, I'm guessing is.
Yeah, that's one. Hunting in demand. Habitat fragmentation is the big one.
Although we've talked about several of those things already. I mean, we do disease, or maybe I do, you know. When we talk about disease, we talk about the habitat invasion and why disease comes out.
Right, like I talked about it when we talked about emerging diseases.
Right.
So like, because we're cutting down more rainforest, we have more contact with animals and.
Right.
So those are the 3 objectives from section 3 of chapter 6.
I like to explain the value of biodiversity better.
Yeah, the first one.
Explain the value of biodiversity.
think that's good, so, because you're doing two things there. One, what is biodiversity and why is it important? Should we say identify current threats? Should we say specific threats? Because as you said, fragmentation, invasive species.
Pollution is in here, hunting, so like poaching type stuff. Climate change is one. I mean, there's 5 of them. Do you want to do a number or?
No, let's just keep it specific.
Because it could change, I mean,
Yeah.
things in the
So
future.
it's not just like,
Right.
they're dying. Why are they dying?
Death.
That would be some of my responses.
Yeah, mine too. Specific threats to biodiversity.
Yeah,
I think that's fine.
good. Describe how biodiversity can be preserved.
Methods of conservation. Diversity conservation, is that too big worded? Probably. Conserving biodiversity.
What I'm finding kind of, if I was thinking I was a high school kid, look at the 3 in there. Explain the value of biodiversity, identify specific threats to biodiversity, explain how biodiversity can be preserved. And the title is called biodiversity.
Lots of biodiversity.
Well, I think the last one could be changed to something different than biodiversity. I mean, that would be fine, but
Because really the value is
Right.
gonna be implied in the last one, and the need for preservation.
right, so why shouldn't we say like something about what are current methods used in conservation? Or something like that. Conservation of animal populations, if you don't wanna say biodiversity, I don't know. Cause this is talking
Biodiversity's
about,
more than animal populations.
Yeah.
I think we just wanna go with conservation.
Biodiversity's more than animal
Well,
populations.
Bacteria,
Yeah, but-
fungus.
Well, just the whole homeostatic thing of everything's interconnected, the interconnectedness of stuff. So I guess I would just say on that last one, just something about the importance of maintaining biodiversity.
but this is
That-
talking about how they're like, how they're doing it.
Yeah, the
These are
section, the
So I think
objective
the word
originally
method
said
should be in there
how
somewhere.
biodiversity can be preserved. So what are the methods used to preserve?
Conserve, let's use
Conserve.
conserve and not preserve, so, because the head is
Describe-
conserving biodiversity.
Describe the methods used. To conserve biodiversity.
I like that.
That's better. Yeah.
I like that one.
Oh, this is where that section gets into the case study stuff that
It's not very
it's not
good.
really very good, yeah. So really, this last one is only 1 or 2 pages that we'll have them read, and it's just really
And
about
then we're gonna have
footprints.
them do an activity, because that was on my list of things to find,
Right.
was
Okay.
the ecological footprint.
We're gonna have them do case studies, right?
Right, aren't we doing
Well-
the Easter Island thing?
Well, then we could
That's
wrap it up
one
with that
chapter.
at the end, and we could introduce what Easter Island was at the beginning.
But we talked about finding an online tool to measure their ecological
Yes,
footprint.
one, that finding
yeah.
a tool where they do their own ecological footprint, and the second part, I'd say have them do case studies, like this row, you're gonna do a case study on this, have them doing different case studies about different,
Jigsaw case studies.
ecological challenges going on in the world.
I think.
The ones that are here in the book,
ecological
or we're gonna find different ones?
I would say find different.
I-
We
Yeah,
could
well, I don't
probably
think
find better
these,
ways
I
to
don't
do
think
it.
these are very good.
Yeah, they're not.
And I
They're not
think
really
it can be
case studies.
updated. Well, there's newer stuff out there than what this shows.
That's true.
And we have, membership to that case study.
Yeah,
I
haven't looked at that for ecology.
have not, I've started to use it quite a bit for anatomy.
It's cool.
Which
Yeah.
one is this?
Is that
It's,
the link you sent to us a long time ago?
Yeah, from the University of Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
We've used that.
We've used that. Sometimes we just use the free ones though.
Well, we have a
Memberships,
subscription
you
to
get
it
the
now.
teacher's edition.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, there's some much better, I mean, I get an email like every other week of, this new one has come out.
Yeah, we do that for the stem cells ones.
Yeah, we do.
And
So we know what we're gonna do for this chapter 6 as far as, beginning to end. What do you think of these objectives?
I don't like the last one.
I think the footprint one is important.
Yeah.
Should we,
Yeah.
should one of the objectives be able to
tying into understanding the case study. We want the kids to be able to take information and make informed decisions about it. So when they read stuff like in the newspaper in the future or see a TV program, how does this fit into what's going on in the world? You know, so what, they don't have water in Peru, how is that affecting
Well, and
me
that's
specific?
Informed decisions.
Yeah, because one of the key questions in the textbook is how does the average ecological footprint in America compare to the world's
That's
average?
what I wondered too.
Which I like a lot,
I like
because
that too.
even in plant science, we talk, just even yesterday, we were talking about how, you know, the global warming idea is totally, the world buys into that, but if you're in America, it's only like 50% of people buy into it.
What if we changed it to that?
Well, and we
Explain
talked
the
about-
concept of your ecological footprint.
In comparison to places around the world.
Well, or as a global citizen, because I always preach that we're members of this, biodiversity is the whole
Sure.
world.
Mhm.
So as a member of a global citizen, or as a global citizen,
Yeah, that's good, I think.
I like that, that's a good phrase.
Yeah.
Because we do this in mankind too, we talk about how we use as many resources here in America, each person, as like 5 people do in China.
Right, yeah. And I think that's an important skill to understand that we're so much more wasteful than the rest of the planet is.
Right.
So should the second objective be about being able to make informed
decisions.
ecological decisions?
Yeah.
I like it just that.
Yeah, I do
Be
too.
able to make informed ecological decisions, plain and
Do
simple.
we need to say something about based on evidence or not? Because
No,
if they're using
because
case
that's
studies.
informed. I guess that's the informed part, would
Okay.
be assuming that's true. It's knowledge-based.
Well, and that can really be pretty broad too this way, because that will tie into the case studies.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's what I want to say, this is why we're doing those case studies, so you
You
can
can,
take information and make it, and
Send
our
us
case studies, we
something.
could use case studies that are trash. I mean, you give them a case study of some scientists, you know, and they make the kids come up with, this stuff isn't right, the science isn't right, or, I mean, that could be one of the case studies, is a bad case study, and see if the kids figure out, this isn't real science, you know, the
Well,
guy
and
didn't.
that actually is a really cool idea. You have to be like maybe 4 of them, and then you just tell them up front, one of them's fake. Which one is it? And they could be doing teams, like if there's 4 of us and one of us has one that's not a good.
No, I was
case
thinking
study.
about groups of kids doing a different case study, and then like this group's entire case study is poor.
Right.
Can they figure out between the
Right,
and
four?
then they're at some point gonna have to tell the other groups what
Yeah.
theirs is
That's
about.
what I'm
And
saying.
within those collective groups,
If
they're
up,
gonna
if up
decide.
front, you know there are 4 case studies in the room, and one of them has bad evidence, and then we have discussed case study 1, and they do 2, 3, 4, and then as a group, you have to kind of get in 4 groups to talk about, this is why I think mine's good, this is why I think mine's good. I mean, that might be really good. Think, pair, share.
Yeah, that'd be a good, like, lab day activity. You could have them read and prepare overnight, and then,
Because I think it's
Discussion
important for them
second
to
on
realize not everything that they're gonna read is,
Yeah, where is the good analysis of
just
How
because I
do you
looked it up on
decide-
Google doesn't mean.
how big was the case study? How big was the population? Did they study 3 plants at the time this was happening?
right.
So yeah, I like that too.
Wow, this is.
Maybe write that in parentheses underneath it, case studies.
How many
Kind of-
weeks are we working on this unit? What's our time frame? How much time?
I'm guessing we're gonna have about a month.
Not
quite that much.
I think we're
but
gonna
yeah,
be 3 weeks.
I think we'll be at
Okay,
least
so
3
we find
weeks.
out, do we have to do an end of course exam yet?
Ooh, good
I've
question.
not heard, but I'm going to see Shane Scott about every other day for the next 2 weeks.
Because I really feel that if we do, then this unit needs to trump. It needs to come earlier in because there's so much stuff on the end of course about ecology.
I will email him today, find a specific answer.
So I would rather do this earlier than late.
What did you swap it with the time that you did it early, do you know?
I would have did this.
Did
and
you
then I
swap
went
it with
back.
human body? But now we're not doing human body.
Is it-
So you'd have to swap it with
Which
animals.
would be like next week.
For 2
Yeah,
weeks.
we're starting,
I think
I'm
we're gonna
starting
be-
25 next week.
If we look at our schedule, we're plants right now, then we move into animal systems. And then, are you guys having them doing their animal projects?
Yeah.
And then we move into ecology, because we're not
When
doing
you talk
human.
animal projects, what do you guys do for animal
We
projects?
do an invertebrate one.
I
yeah.
do vertebrates.
Leah and I spent a lot of time doing invertebrates last
The
week.
last, like, 3 years, we've kind of revamped it. Now it's a little more, it flows better. We
So
have,
what do you do with invertebrates? Why do you say?
It's about claudograms. It's just a presentation. So they have to draw a random animal, and then they find their partner based on what the random animal's
Phylum is.
phylum is. And then they do, they present back to back as far as evolution. This one's more involved because of this one, this one's more involved because of that one.
So it basically builds the cladogram of invertebrates.
Right. And they do 5-minute presentations back to back to
Why
back.
don't you pick invertebrates?
Because there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of different.
And they know they can do frogs and they know those. But then, when we build on that, I build on that from evolution from that one on. Okay, well, we did all the invertebrates and but I feel like if I'm gonna teach about specific functions of animals, it should be animals they don't involve
So
with.
they do exotic pets.
Oh, yeah.
Try to entice sisters in, and that's, they have to pick exotic pets and then talk about research, care, and needs and costs and unique diseases to them and just kind of do a whole, and the kids really like the exotic pets.
Yeah,
I think they're all.
I think, anytime you do anything that's,
I don't have my kids
making their own.
present the material, I have them create the media, and then, well, I was putting it all on the S drive, and then they had to look at other people's, but next year, they'll be able to do it on Canvas. You'll be able to, one of the cool things about Canvas is, one, you can assign people to specific groups, and in doing so, when I put up my presentation, 3 other people have to review it. So you can use the kids to be using a rubric to review other people's projects.
We do that with Google too. Same thing.
You can do it with Turnitin too.
Now, you have a Turnitin account, right?
Everybody does, you just have to get the password for it, the whole building, it's a big
Okay.
fight.
'Cause I was-
I need to start it.
I need to start using it because I have my anatomy kid turn in like so many papers, but I end up doing is having to read the paper off but I also need to submit them to turn it in.
The Turnitin is wonderful for plagiarism check,
Yeah.
because as soon as you tell them it will be submitted through Turnitin, there is no plagiarism issues.
Unless you're Grant Wright, who actually still has kids do it.
So no, Turnitin, and that's what,
So who do you get that from? Like Jamie Eller?
I would start with
Physically said that.
Christine Milberg.
You
That's who I
know
went
this.
through, was
Okay.
Christine, but that's when she was teaching, but even though she still knew who to get the information from.
Alright, are we good with this?
So are we planning on having, because we kind of divvied up like what each person's gonna bring to the table for chapter 6,
Yeah.
when are we supposed to have that by? Soonish?
Well, we need to know about
During,
this. And-
during iPads or
I
something that
think we
morning,
need
that's
to
kind of
just
what I
hold
was.
off, because it's a time thing, because I know because last year, I didn't feel like 6 should have been left out. So I did like a summary unit thing rather than a chapter teaching presentation. So I need to kind of know how much time we have to present this, to figure out, because guys, there is a lot of stuff in 3, 4, 5, and 6 if we
Yeah, I
do
know.
individual chapters.
I think
Well,
one of
we're
the
doing
things
3
we
and
need
4
to
and
do
5 and 6, right?
in that afternoon of the 11th and 12th is sit down and look at the calendar and
Map
for
out
the rest of the year, how we
calendar
can
for the
map
rest
out.
of the year based on all interruptions and stuff.
Yeah.
Knowing that if we do or don't have to do an end-of-course exam.
Yep,
But
hopefully.
I do think we're gonna be at 3 weeks. Do you think 3 weeks?
I think
I think at
3
least.
is
3 weeks for
reasonable.
4 chapters is still not much.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
because once you
but-
test 3, 4, and, 3, 4, and then
Because
test
you're
5,
burning
6.
2 days.
I think
just
it's
on
gonna be closer to
testing.
4 weeks.
It might be.
It might, yeah, I think minimally we will have 3 weeks, because I'm behind, so you guys are gonna be way ahead of us, or maybe, I don't know where you're at.
I'm like a little bit ahead of you.
I'm still in plans.
I'm just starting chapter 23, which is plant structure today,
I'm starting
I'm
plans
starting-
on Monday.
I'm starting 23 on Monday.
and I'm testing on Thursday next
I'm
week.
not testing till next,
The
following
Me
week.
too. I'll probably be lab day next week out.
Last year I did 22 quiz, 23 quiz, and did not care for that. I am testing 22, 23 today.
So you're way ahead then, so you'll have way more time than we
Yeah.
thought.
You have like a week.
Because if you don't do
and a half.
animal projects,
I
and
think
we all
I'm gonna
do.
go back and do a transpiration lab next block. So see that burn. So even though I've tested today,
Sure,
I'm
trying
probably,
stuff out.
yeah, I'm
So
probably.
it might be a
gonna go
week up.
Maybe.
But see, I know
Mine
that
is
that
out
lab
of
takes a
pets
while.
because
Well,
they
yeah.
do presentations.
Yeah.
That takes time.
That takes time. So
It's not like
honestly,
close.
I would, and that's, the plant thing, I just put, because last year when I did 22 as a quiz and 23 as a quiz, the time you teach it, review it, and quiz it, it was just better. And I really like putting 22 with 23 for my kids. For the student population I have this year, I think it's best that they can make the connections about, oh, the leaves do carry out photosynthesis. Well, that's an organ. Well, so.
Right.
The connection was better for me.
Yeah, 22 is such a crapshoot of just, really, in the future, we might need to look at just making that the cladogram and moving to 23.
And that's the thing, I think I
Oh,
have the
it-
same thing, because that's all I really push. I draw the cladogram and I just hammer that the whole time I'm
Yeah.
going over my power plot, because that's all that really matters at the end.
Yeah.
Do
I
I
don't
care
care
that
about
they know
the
the
rest of
difference
it.
between rhizoids and rhizomes?
No. All the rest of the stuff is just.
Even the alternation of generations, I
Yeah.
show that, and they have to be able to use the diagram effect.
Right.
Right,
But understanding the sport fight and media fight part,
Right,
and what one's dominant,
yeah,
it's way,
yeah, and
Nor is it
they don't
necessary.
care, and I don't care, and that doesn't help, so.
the only thing I will say in regards to what we have done with this, we really haven't hit the ecology next generation science standards yet, right? Have we?
right.
We haven't gotten
This
those
is
on.
designed to help get us to a lot of those that we're
Okay,
lacking.
but I think we need to revisit this when we look at next
Absolutely.
generation
Yeah.
science
But
standards.
that's
That's why
If
we
we
need-
say this is what we need to teach, but we really don't know if this meets
That's what we
next
need.
generation science
But we gotta,
standards.
But on
That
the
should be
11
blocked
through 12,
too.
that's, we'll review that.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I've gotta go, because I
Yeah.
got kids for biotest
Okay.
today, so.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for bringing us bagels.